Welcome to another live episode. I am your host, WIZE, and I have a very special guest. He's the renowned architect of the Warriors Life Code. Welcome to the show, Martin Salama. Hello.
Hello there, sir. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Even with the thunderstorms outside, everything's great.
Yeah, you're in Jersey. I'm in PA, and we've been dealing with thunderstorms all afternoon. Yeah, I know. I feel you. So let's just jump right into this. So can you share with us the journey that led you to become the architect of the Warriors Life Code?
Absolutely. So I think I have to say that the journey started in 2008 when everything seemed to happen with the world falling apart. Remember that financial crash in 2008?
The housing crisis and everything. Yes,
exactly. So I was kind of one of the victims of that. For 5 years before, my wife and I were working on a project to build a multi-million-dollar health club and tennis center in New Jersey. And it took us 5 years because, we came up with the concept. We decided that it's something to look into, did a feasibility study, had to find the land, architect, engineers, go to the town tell us, oh, go do a civil engineering to make sure that you have, good parking and that what's going to affect the traffic and all that. So it took us about 5 years to get through that. And by then I was a little over $3 million into the project between my money and borrowed money and investors' money. And if we had gone to the banks in 2006 or 2007, they would have said, here's the money, no problem. Kind of like when you go to Costco and you have the old ladies giving away the samples. They were giving away money. I refinanced my house a few times during that time. And every time I went back, they just kept on raising the amount of money they'd be willing to put the value of my house at, because that's what the market was doing. So I go in 2008, in the summer of 2008, and they go, yeah, we're not lending right now. The market's kind of taking a turn. Well, you told me you could do it. Well, we can't do it anymore. A month later, Bernie Madoff, subprime loans, the financial crash just totally killed me. And I was one of the victims of that. So getting through that was tough. And it took me about a year to get through it. In the meantime, I stopped paying my mortgage, stopped paying my car payments. Luckily, I lived in New Jersey. So my house was foreclosed on, but it took them years before they finally took it because they were so backed up. But my car, after a few months, my son tells me, Dad, look, your car's being towed. I was being repossessed. That was the first time that ever happened to me. It was a blow, and I went into a depression, basically a situational depression, and it took me about a year to get out of that. And when I did, I said, okay, now what? What do I want to do with my life? And I thought about it, and I said, I don't want to be a businessman anymore. This businessman, too many ups and downs. I just came through the worst thing financially that I had hit in a long time. It was close to a depression as you can get. And I was like, I don't feel like being in that kind of crazy position anymore. So I looked at my life. I looked at what I had done in my life that I got enjoyment out of. One of the things was I was always a community-minded person. I was always a leader. And as a leader, people would come in and say, I don't know how much I can do. And I'd say, I'll show you what you can do. And I realized I was a coach without even realizing that's what I was doing until I thought about it. Because during that year of introspection, I went to coaching, I went to therapy, and it really strengthened me to make this decision. And about a few months before I was going to start coach training, my 24th wedding anniversary, my wife said, I'm done. I want a divorce. So I was like, oh man, I can't seem to catch a break. Everything seems to keep happening to me. Why is this all happening to me? And I had to make a decision. Do I want to still continue with this idea of going forward with coach training? I said, yes, I'm going to do it. So I went. And that was one of the best decisions I made, because that gave me the key that I needed to unlock what was going on inside of me. I was so stuck in this mindset of I have to do what I think I have to do. And they said, you don't have to do that. You could do whatever you want to do. And you can become whoever you want to become. And that set me on my way to getting to a point a few years later of creating the Warriors Life Code. And for me, life comes from me changing my life, becoming happy with my life, realizing that I was living a wonderful, happy life, meaningful life. So I took the word life and turned it into live incredibly full every day so that I have a happy and meaningful life.
Okay. That's it's I remember 2008 was kind of, it was a rough year as well. That was that was the year my wife passed away in a car accident,
Oh, I'm so
and
sorry.
it was no, it was, and yeah, like everyone else, people was going through a lot of situations with the housing financial crisis. It was a crazy time. So so what really inspired you to develop the concept of living incredibly full every day and turn it into a coaching program?
So what had happened was after I finished my coach training, I became a divorce recovery coach because I had just come through my own divorce and I understood the power that the coaching had in helping me to change my life and get through the divorce. And I think God has a sense of humor because he put me through coaching at the same time of as I was going through my divorce to help me get through it. Oh, you want to do that? Great. You're in the bottom. Great. Let's move yourself up from here. And I started to unpack and like you heard the saying, peeling off the layers of the onion.
Yeah.
And as I got through that and I started to understand what was holding me back, I realized I was a people pleaser my whole life. And the problem was I was a people pleaser, but I was never pleasing anyone. And that was because I was so busy trying to please everyone that I forgot the most basic rule, which is I have to please myself first and then think about pleasing others. So once I started to understand that, it opened up, it was like kind of like Pandora's box because out of that came, I was a control freak. I took everything personally. I needed the recognition and approval for everything that I was doing. People pleaser. And when all those things weren't happening, I would lose it. I had a short temper. I know I'd overreact to everything. I even say it was like a nuclear reactor. I'd freak out and I'd leave fallout all over the place. So now that I understood these things and I unpacked them and opened up this Pandora's box, it was time for me to figure out what to do about it. So I started changing. Now that I understood, I had the tools and my mindset was starting to change. I went from being self-conscious to self-aware. We're all aware and we all think we're self-aware. But once they spend a little time with me, they get to understand there's a big difference between self-conscious and self-aware. And that difference is what helped me shift. And as I made this shift, I started to work out, started to eat better. I was the heaviest I ever was in my life, and I wasn't very healthy. So it wasn't just because I was heavy, but it added to my health issues. And in about 9 months, I lost 9 pounds. I felt the best I ever did in my entire life. And I was doing things like meditating. And I'm ADHD. So could you imagine a guy like me meditating even for 10 minutes? It was crazy. But I was reading better books. I was being coached. I thought I couldn't afford it. And now I realize I can't afford not to be coached. And one of these days when I was meditating, I had this download of information that I was loving my life. And I wanted to show other people how they could love it too. And I wrote for 2 hours after, and that's where Live Incredibly Full Every Day came out.
Awesome, awesome. Um, so through the process of you taking the coaching and preparing yourself for for what lied ahead of you, would you say so? Because I know personally, because in during the pandemic, I took a course and I got certified as a life coach and everything. And while I was taking the course and everything, I started applying what I was learning to myself and
Yep.
applying to what, and it's helped me turn around. It's helped shift my mindset, and it's made me realize, okay, this is where I need to work on for myself. These are the things that I need to work on for me.
Yep.
And so it was me, yes, learning to want to become a coach, but at the same time, I was learning how to coach myself, how to show myself. Like taking the course was like an awakening for me. It was like, okay, yeah, these are things I need to work on. These are
Exactly.
issues that I have. So
Exactly. I call myself Martin 2.0 because, you know, uh, Martin 1.0, I didn't like him very much. Now that I could look back and recognize it. And like you, I started to understand what values were. I never really understood what a value was. And I look back over when I learned it and started practicing it and understanding what my values were. I realized that for the 25 years I was married, my values and my wife's values were completely different. Now, we had many happy years, and I have four beautiful children and eight wonderful grandchildren. Right. But looking back now, the day she asked for the divorce was probably after my children, the best thing she ever gave me because it was the kick in the pants I needed to change. And looking back, I can say I was in a codependent relationship because I needed to please her because of my people pleaser mentality. So now that I understood this, now when I started to date again, I would look for the values in the women I was dating to see if we could get as closely aligned as possible. And one day I started dating this woman and her values were checking off mine like mine, almost exact. Okay, not again, same thing, and again and again. About a month into it, I said, I got to tell you something. I'm falling in love with you because I love who you are and that you see me as I am and you're not trying to change me. And I'm very happy to say, soon after, she told me she loved me, and we've been married for 5 years.
amazing. Congratulations, man. It's I know it. I know what it is to find love again,
Mm.
and especially I didn't go through a divorce. My situation was different, but to be able to find and connect with someone who shares a similar. My wife is the same way. She shares a lot of the same views and principles that I have, and she has this. She's not. She doesn't try to change me, but she sees the potential in me and the greatness in me, and she encourages and pushes me to be great. And
Yeah,
so when I started podcasting, and she could have easily been, but you're a 40 something year old man. What do you mean you're gonna start podcasting? What do you mean you're gonna start doing all this stuff? But she saw how passionate I was about it, and she saw that I was really into it, and I really loved doing it. And she says, "What can I do to make this something you would want to do all the time?" She says, I see how
wow.
I see how much you love doing this. I see that you're improving every time you get behind the mic. She saw me, she saw the greatness in me and what I was capable of doing with the podcast. And she helped me start my production company. She helped me encourage me to keep doing, and so when you have someone like that supporting you and seeing your vision, it's great. It's an amazing feeling to be able to have someone aligned with you who sees the same thing you see and maybe even sees more than what you see.
Exactly.
So
How
I
beautiful is
understand.
that? What a beautiful woman. Congratulations.
Oh yeah, she's already right now. She's away on work trip. She's in Wisconsin right now. So shout out, baby, love you. She's out. She's gone for the next 2 weeks. So that's like the
Cool.
longest we've ever really been apart
All right.
since
You'll
beginning of
survive.
this.
You know, absent makes the hardcore founder.
Yeah, but no, it's being able to. I would never thought after I lost my wife that I was gonna love someone ever again,
Right.
and so to find her and have her put in my path and shown that you can love again and there is someone out there for you again. It's been a blessing, man. I've
Beautiful.
been blessed to be able to turn my life around, get out of the bad place I was after I lost my wife,
Mm.
and so to be able to turn my life around, have a great career, I'm doing some amazing work on the podcast. I'm having some great guests like yourself, and been it's like I found my purpose at 40 something to be able to want to help people and show them, hey, listen, regardless of what your situation is, whatever you've been through in life, there is a bright spot. You can overcome it. You can lift yourself up and do better. And
Right.
like your situation where you had a financial crisis, take away everything you built and worked for, and you could have easily just given up. You
Yeah,
could have
I could
easily
have.
just given up and like, oh, but you didn't. And same with me. I could have easily given up and just went down that dark path and just not care about anything. But I snapped out of it. I got my life together. I sought the help, and it's not as that you have your moments. There's rough times in life and everything, but
Yeah.
it's how you bounce back. It's how you pick yourself off the ground and be like, you know what?
Yeah. That's exactly where the warrior part comes in. That's exactly my definition of what a warrior is. A warrior is somebody who's gone through the tough times and come out of it stronger. And I came up with the warrior part during the pandemic. The pandemic came, it was March 2020, and the world shuts down. And they go, yeah, it's going to be 2-3 weeks, and then we'll all be back to normal. What a joke that was.
Yeah.
So now here it is, and I'm finding every day a way to get out of the house. Even if I'm wearing the mask, and in the beginning, even wearing the gloves. Remember, they're like, don't touch anything. And I'd go to the supermarket. I do my thing. I was like, I got to get out of the house. I can't let this hold me down.
Yeah.
So it was 2 months in. It was like May. And people are still living in their cocoons. And I turned to my wife. I said, let's take your kids, my stepkids. Let's go to Manhattan. Let's go to New York City. We live in Brooklyn, New York. In the wintertime, I live in Brooklyn. In the summer, I'm down by the Jersey Shore. So like, okay. Now, if you know anything about New York City, driving a few blocks in New York takes about 10 minutes. Well, I drove straight down Fifth Avenue without missing a traffic light. That's how empty the streets were. And I looked at
I'm
my
a city
wife.
boy. I'm a Brooklyn boy myself. So
You know. So I turned to my wife and go, Sarita, what the heck is going on? Where is everybody? What are they all worried about? She goes, I don't get it. I don't know. And then I realized the last 10 to 12 years up until that point, going through my divorce, losing all the money, my weight gain, weight loss, that whole thing, I was prepared for anything. God had prepared me, and my mindset and coaching and everything that I've been doing had prepared me for anything that would come up so that I wouldn't worry about it anymore. So I got onto Facebook and I said, guys, I get it. I understand what you're going through. I've been through it and I've come through the other side. So let me show you how to go from being a warrior, somebody who's worried, to a warrior. And that's where the Warriors Life Code came from.
So I go live because I love the interaction.
Yeah.
Good friend of mine, Corrado, he says, Martin, I did the same as you. He's one like me and Corrado could be the complete opposite, but I got nothing but love for him, man. He's one of my coworkers, and he's very supportive. He's one of my biggest fans. He has no problem telling me when I did something wrong on the show, or if
You
he
need
wants
someone
to
like
see,
that.
or if he wants to see, like, can you get some different guests or do talk on different topics and stuff. So, but I love that. I love that he tells me how he feels, and I appreciate it. I don't get offended by it. I love it. I love the fact that he could come to me and talk to me and be like, "Oh, I love this show. Yeah, great." And so when you have people like that, where they give you constructive criticism, they're not trying to bash you. They're not trying to. He actually wants me to succeed. So when he tells me something, I listen.
You know what? To me, I don't like the word criticism. I call it feedback.
And that's what it is. It really is. It's feedback. It's him being a viewer, listener, whatever. When he feels something, he lets me know, and I appreciate that. I greatly.
Yeah,
He knows I
and
love him
thank
to
you,
death.
Corrado. Thank you for acknowledging that I'm not the only one. That's
No,
that's why I give my message, to show people, hey, you might be like me. It's okay. You're not alone, and it's okay to ask for help. You know, man, we're in the 2020s. When we were kids, telling somebody I'm struggling, telling somebody I need help,
it didn't happen. It wasn't
it
something we
didn't
did.
happen.
It wasn't something we did. No,
You were looked at as a wuss.
Yeah, it was a different time. We had to suck it up. That's what it was.
Suck it up.
We had to suck it up. Hey, you can be walking around with a broken leg, but your parents be like, "Yeah, you got to suck it up. Come on, get up."
That's it. And thank goodness for people like Brene Brown, who brought the word vulnerability out of the closet and said it's okay to be vulnerable because that's your authentic self. Doesn't mean dump on everybody all your problems. No. But when you got something, let somebody know. Let somebody you trust care about help you.
And that was the issue that we had, that if we spoke upon with our struggles and our issues, like you said, we were considered weak. We were
Yeah,
considered not man enough because we weren't strong. We couldn't. We showed our true selves. We showed the side of ourselves that we have been repressing for so long. Because
yeah, yeah.
like from since we were a little kid, boys
Yep.
don't cry, boys don't do this, boys. Don't, so it's been different
Yeah, you know, the
now.
word of the 70s was you're macho.
Yeah, it was. We grew up. Listen, we grew up in a time where we had John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, Lee Marvin,
Yep.
all these macho
Steve
men.
McQueen.
Steve McQueen, yes, all these macho men that
That's
they
it.
were rough and tough, and then show emotion and all this stuff, and to now be able to actually be ourselves and be able to show that, yeah, we can be vulnerable, but that doesn't make us any less of a man.
That's right. It makes you more of a man. Let's put it straight as it is. It makes you more of a man.
So Corrado says so true,
Yeah.
and this is why I love going live as well. So it's a great experience because I love the interaction that I get to do with the people that come
Me
into the
too.
chat and send the messages and all that. So that
Me too.
it's kind of makes it their show as well, and I love that. I love that the fact that they're a part of the show now.
Yeah, I love the interaction. Corrado, thank you so much. I really appreciate your comments here. I appreciate you throwing us some love.
So how do you help individuals shift their mindset to uncover the greatness and their potential?
Yeah. So part of my course, part of what I go through is, and I mentioned to you before, I came out with a card deck recently.
Yeah.
And a book, both called Warrior to Warrior. Okay. And the card deck is little snippets about what it's about. So for them, I start for most clients, I start with, you got to admit what's holding you back. Admission is the first step. Because if you don't admit it to yourself and say it out loud, you're burying it. You're hiding those emotions. You're hiding those feelings, and you're not allowing yourself to grow. And you're just saying, well, I guess I'm going to have to live this way. But if you start to recognize that you have the power within you to shift that mindset by taking words like I can't and throwing them out the window and saying, at the very least, how can I? And at the most, say, yeah, I can do that. Now you're on the way. And take them into action. Don't just throw those words around. Make them mean something. And that's the second step. For me, there's admission, cleansing. That's the step of doing what you got to do for it to happen. And then the last step is celebrating the little victories along the way.
Yeah, it's that's something that at first when I started doing the podcast, and my nephew had to point out to me, like, yo, dude, you need to celebrate the little victories. He says you have a lot of little victories. Celebrate them. It's okay for you to celebrate. It's okay for you to acknowledge that you're doing well, that you have something going. And that's what I've been doing recently. And it's a work. It's work. I'm working on myself all the time. Like I told you, I'm certified life coach, but I still haven't started my coaching practice yet because of fears that I have within myself. It's me realizing that it's me feeling as if I'm an imposter, like I don't know what. And so recently I've actually been talking to coaches and really trying to get out of my own head, and one dude made me realize, he was like, dude, you know what you're doing. You have a great show. You know, you talk about some great topics. You know what you're talking about. Get out your head. He says, you know your shit. That's what he says. The only reason the only reason you're having these issues with yourselves is because you know your shit. He says, no one out there knows your shit. You know what the hell what's wrong with you. You know what you need to work on.
That's
No one
right.
else out there knows this. So why are you limiting yourself? And I'm like, man, he's absolutely right.
That's right. You know what? You got to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
You're blocking yourself from your greatness. That's what most people are doing. It's that fear. It's that thing that what happens if I do this and it doesn't work? Well, if it doesn't work, figure out and do it a different way. That's a huge thing about what I talk about. It's this thing called the cycle of A's. Okay. Now, most of us have heard of the law of attraction.
Yes.
What you think about comes your way. The problem with that is that's just the foundation. So when it doesn't work, people are like, the law of attraction doesn't work.
But
because it goes deeper than that. And that's where my cycle of A's comes in.
Yeah, because people think, oh yeah, let me just think about it. But if you don't put the work, if you don't put the effort towards
Right.
it, how are you supposed to manifest it? Or you think it's like, oh, I'm just gonna think about it, it's gonna pop. No.
No. It's not like I'm gonna wake up and there's gonna be $1 million sitting out my front door.
It don't work that way. You actually have
so
to
number one is
work.
A, ask the universe, ask yourself, ask whatever, what it is you want. And then A, the second A is act. Start doing the work towards getting it. And here's the third A. This is the toughest one of all, but it's the most important. You've got to have an attitude of detached emotion from the outcome. The more you want it, I have to have it, the more it's going to stay away from you. So if you have an attitude of, listen, if it's not going exactly as I want, maybe I need to make a course correction. Maybe I need to just switch a little bit. And it's God's way of telling you, you know what? This isn't what I got planned for you. People say to me all the time, I prayed to God and he didn't answer. I said, he did. You weren't listening. He said no.
Yeah, it's amazing how when you just look at things and you just see that, man, maybe maybe I wasn't ready to receive that message at that point in time. Right. And now you're receiving it and you're like, man, I was a fool to think that he wasn't listening at all, but he was. And this, like I said, I'm blessed to be able to do this, to be able to sit down here and talk. And if you would have asked me 4 or 5 years ago, would I be doing this? I don't think I would. I wouldn't. I didn't fathom this. I didn't think that I would build a platform where I get to speak to some amazing people, build some amazing relationships, and talk to people all over the world.
Right.
Because I've been able.
Let's take your exactly what you're talking about here. What we've talked about in your context for the last month, the last half hour that we've been talking, right? So you decide to go to life coach training, and then all of a sudden you get into podcasting and you feel something about it, and you get support from your wife, and you get support from people like Cordero, who are telling you, man, you got something here. So you asked the universe, you put it out there, and then you started acting, you started doing the things, and now you are allowing it to happen. You're allowing it to grow, and that's the attitude. And once you get into that perpetual motion of the cycle of A's, as I call it, which again is one of the cards in my deck. You see here the cycle?
Okay, yeah.
Right? Because it's perpetual motion. Now take that thought, the way this has manifested for itself from the things that you created, okay? The magic is there, and say, well, if I could do it here, why can't I do it in coaching? Why can't I do it in this? I got the skills. It's just about getting out of my own way and taking away that fear, that desire for it. It's got to happen. No, it'll happen. Do it and it'll happen.
Oh yeah, no. I was actually working on the workbook that I'm going to use, and I finished it today. I finished it, and it was just me, again challenging myself. It's like the last month or so, I've been challenging myself to a lot of things. I challenged myself to do 30 tips in 30 days. I did 30 reels in 30 days with tips for podcasters, right? And it was me just challenging myself because I wasn't using social media the way I'm supposed to be using. Wasn't really doing the things I was supposed to do to help grow my brand and grow the podcast. So I challenged myself. I said, I'm going to do 30 reels in 30 days. And I did those 30 reels. And just with the consistency, you see the growth. You can see the amount of people tuning in, the amount of people liking the reels, enjoying them, sending me messages like, yo, thank you. I needed those tips. And that just was just me challenging myself. So now what I did was, all right, I'm gonna get this course book done, work and this workbook. I'm gonna get this workbook done and send it to someone that who's already been interested in me helping them and me helping them and wanting me to coach them.
Right.
So what I
So
did
tell
was
them, be my beta tester.
and that's what I did. I did the workbook and I was like, I emailed them. I said, here, tell me what you think. Tell me what, and so I'm waiting for the response. But
There you go.
it was me wanting, it's like me really facing my fears and really questioning myself. Like, dude, you got this. Why do you continue to be afraid? Why do you keep? And it's of course it's afraid of failing and falling down. But sometimes you gotta fail and fall down to get stronger and pick yourself back up and realize, all right, this is where I need work at. This is where I need
Right.
to improve at.
Right.
This is what I need to change
Right.
to get better results. And this
One of my mentors says to me, embrace the fear. Use the energy of the fear and do it anyway.
yeah. And that was even with my podcast when I first started, I had recorded and deleted, recorded and deleted, recorded and deleted. And because I was strictly audio at first. I was strictly audio, no video, just audio. And so it was just like, who's gonna want to listen to me? I sound horrible, I suck. And people would listen to me and be like, "What, dude? What's wrong with you? Like, you sound fine." They're like, "You actually got a radio voice." So I don't know what are you talking about. I don't know what you're hearing, but we're not hearing the same thing you're hearing.
Hey, you got a great voice.
And so it worked. So it was like, and with when people continuously tell you this, like, okay, maybe I do sound good. Maybe I do have a good voice. Maybe, and it just with each episode, I just got more confident. I got more confident, just build my. And when I didn't know anything about like podcasting. All I did was upload the episode and put a title on it. I didn't do any no descriptions, didn't do no thumbnails. I didn't do any of that for the first few episodes. But once I started being more consistent with it and started learning more about SEOs, learning about descriptions, learning about thumbnails, I really started. I just dove right in and just started learning all the things that I could learn and absorb and taking courses. And then again, that's when it started really growing. That's when my audience, I would go from 20 downloads to 100 downloads, from 100 downloads to 300 downloads, and slowly but surely started growing. Like in the last 7 months, I've actually surpassed what I did in my first 2.5 years as far as downloads.
Beautiful. It's
And
consistency and
yes,
persistence, and you're learning and creating your craft and building it and understanding yourself, understanding your audience, and getting in there and relating to them. And they're picking it up, man. They're picking it up.
yeah, it's a great feeling to be able to just come and do a show, do something that I enjoy. Like I said, enjoy doing. I can record every like, oh man, when what was it? It was last year or the year before. I just went. There was a whole summer. I just went crazy and just recorded probably like 5, 6 This is when I was just strictly audio though. So I would probably record 5. It was days that I recorded. There was one day I recorded 4 episodes in one day.
Wow.
And I went crazy. Like there was a week where I probably recorded 25 episodes.
Holy moly.
But these are all strictly audio. I have probably over 300 interviews, just strictly audio. Just strictly audio that I really do need to go back and start going and picking some of my favorite ones out and start releasing them. But it was just bananas because people were like, yo, you need to slow down before you burn yourself out. And I took a little break. I took about a couple of weeks off to just reset and not burn myself. Yeah, and keep going. And then I had a client, I had a guest come on and say, you don't do video? We need to get you to and that episode I went video because they mentioned, they pointed it out 3 times. They're like, you don't do video? And I understand, and I made up excuses the first 2 times. The first 2 times I was like, I'm not ready, I'm not prepared. But the crazy thing was, I was already using StreamYard, and I was just recording the audio onto my
Wow.
Rodecaster Pro. I wasn't pressing record on the video.
Mm.
And when the third time he asked me, I said, you know what? Yes, I do video now. Press record, and from then I started doing video.
There you
And
go.
then it was pre-recorded, and then last summer I decided that I wanted to go live because I started doing a sports talk radio show with for my friend. He was battling cancer, so I jumped on his radio show with his partner, and then just the interaction with the live audience, just the way they interact with their audience was like,
Mhm.
man, that's what I want to
Yeah.
do with my show.
Especially with sports, it could get
Yeah.
passionate,
So,
especially in
so
Pennsylvania, man.
but no, but this show that he's in Brian's in Indianapolis,
Oh, okay.
Cole's in Tennessee, so we're all over. But
Yeah.
we have people, but they had people tuning in from Norway, from all
Wow.
over the country, and so
What sports were you talking about?
oh, we talk everything, but that's what got me to do lives. That's
It
what made
loosens you
me,
up.
yeah, that's what prepared me for doing live shows,
That's
because
what it
now
is.
I know how to I was interacting with the guests on the show, have building a relationship with them, where some of them now are friends of mine that they come in and they check me out on Stuck in My Mind or whatever other projects I might be doing.
Right.
But it was that really motivated me to really come and do lives, because I just love that. I love the fact that I could get to interact with Corrado, or I could interact with Ben from the BS3 network, which we're airing on right now on Roku. Right now, we're airing live
Cool.
on the BS3 network on Roku. You can download the BS3 network
Look at
from
that.
any Roku device. So definitely do that if you want to catch Stuck in My Mind and all the great programming they have on the BS3 network. But it's been amazing to just do all of this, man, just to build the relationships that I've been building, just learning so much from so many different people, that it's helped me grow so much as a man, as a podcaster, as a producer, and I'm just grateful that I get to do this.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same way. When I have those connections with people when I'm coaching, and they get that aha moment, and they go, "Oh my God, I get it. Oh my God." It's as if I just ripped the blindfold off their eyes, and they're seeing the light for the first time, and they're excited because they could see their potential. So I get it. Totally get it.
So can you share some practical tips for maintaining a positive and growth oriented mindset?
Sure. How about this? You give me a number between 1 and 32.
Are we gonna use the cards?
I'll pull out a card.
Let's go. All right, let's do this. We're gonna go with my favorite number, 5.
Number 5. Okay. Well, number 5 will take you straight to the cycle of A's. Okay. And which is the introduction. Each step in the cycle of A's feeds into and reinforces the next step. Tip: practice being at peace with everything that happens. This doesn't mean sit on the couch and let life happen as it happens. It means letting go of thinking the things that happen are good or bad. Instead, understand that everything is happening for a reason and moving forward toward where your desire to go.
Okay, all right. I like that one. That one's a
All
good
right.
one. I like that one. All right, let's go with 21.
21. Okay, so part of my system is a 7-step system called the Uncover. 7 steps to uncover your greatness so you can enjoy life, and live incredibly full every day. And card number 21 is the E of Uncover: embrace. Be
Okay.
engaged. A huge part of embracing the new life you're creating is being engaged. Being engaged starts by recognizing how you show up determines what happens. Being engaged means doing things like being mindful and present with everyone and everything you're doing at that moment. The more clarity you have with mindfulness and being present, the more focused you will be with whatever it is you're engaged with.
Oh man, I like that one too. That's a good one.
Cool.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. Let's go with good old Donnie Baseball, number 23.
23, number 23. You don't even have to tell me anything more than that. I'm a big Donnie baseball fan. All right. So 23 is an interesting one. It's the life alternative definitions of the word life.
Okay.
So love intensely, fiercely, and effortlessly.
Like that one. I like that one.
Leadership initiates favorable engagement.
That's a good one. That's a real good one.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I mixed up. Laughter initiates favorable engagement. I read two lights.
That's still good. Laughter is a great thing to be a
Right.
part, have. Yeah.
Leadership inspires fearless energy.
I like that. Yeah.
Living intently facilitates enrichment.
Those are some real good ones. Yeah.
Thank you. Luck is innovated from experience.
Wow.
Leap into fabulous enthusiasm. And the last one on the card here is lasting improvement favors everyone.
I like that one.
There you go.
Yeah, I like that one. Lasting improvements favors everyone. Yeah. I like
So
that.
I got challenged by my book coach who said, okay, so you came up with the word life, live incredibly full every day. You got to come up with other things with that same life. I'm like, all right. So she challenged me. And 2 days later, I sent her my list and she's like, good job.
Hey, you was challenged and you met the challenge. That's awesome.
That's it.
Yeah, that's. Oh man, Martin, this has been great, man. I greatly appreciate you being on the show. But now, like I said when I was telling you earlier, you get to get the solo screen and you get to plug away and let everybody know where they can find the book, where they can find those amazing cards, because those cards can really help. I'm gonna actually go out and get those cards because I really just with those sayings that you just shared with me, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
So
all right, cool.
there
Thank
we
you so
go.
much. The first thing is I want to thank you, Will Wise, for having me here. This has been fantastic. I appreciate having a minute to tell you about myself. And what I did is I made it easy. I have this site called connectwithmartin.com. And you can go there. You can buy the book. You can buy the cards. You can find a way to make an appointment with me for free for 30 minutes just to see what we got going on. And there's some free gifts there as well. But let me tell you, here's the book. Okay, so the book has got some great deep thoughts on how to change your life so that you can uncover the warrior within and live incredibly full every day. So when I created the cards, it was a way of having something tangible, something in your hands, like we just did with Will, where we pull out a card and say, what does this mean to me today? What do I need to hear today? So you go to connectwithmartin.com and you get free gifts. You can buy the book. You click on it, it'll take you right to Amazon. You can buy the book. And in the book, just so you know, when you get to it, right at the beginning, you'll see there's a QR code. See, even a 60-year-old man knows how to get to be technologically sound. You click on that QR code and you can download the workbook, the success activities that you could use to live incredibly full every day. So that's all I got, Will. I hope that helped.
Oh man, that was great. Yes, thank you so much for being a guest. I greatly appreciate it. We were supposed to have you on months ago, but things happen, life happens. But
and we keep going.
Yeah, but listen, this is when we were supposed to actually have this conversation. So
That's right.
that's what matters. This is the
right.
time it was supposed to happen. So it was wonderful to have you on the show, man. I greatly appreciate it. Don't leave just yet. We're gonna chat a little bit off the air, but let me close out the show and thank you once again, Martin. This was amazing. I greatly appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
All right, so now it is time for shout outs. Shout out to my man Corrado for coming in and interacting and showing all the love. Always, as always, brother. Love you and appreciate you. Again, shout out to the BS3 network for having us and airing us Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Shout out to everybody out there who's tuning in on replays later on. Greatly appreciate you catching the replay. Big shout out to my Real Wise fan, Poppy J, Brandy J. Love you guys. Big shout out to the boss lady who's going to be gone for the next 2 weeks. Gonna miss you, babe. Love you. And as big shout out to my guest Martin for coming through and sharing his story and sharing his amazing cards, man. I love it. I love it. And as always, a big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless y'all. Be safe. You know how your boy Wise does it. Peace out.